G'day guys, it's Art with Smurf, and welcome to, oh yeah, Anime Volume 4, the final one. This is going to be a long video, so I'm going to cut the bullshit. I know, every time I review my videos I say, but so if, well, and I talk a lot of shit. We're going to get straight down to business. Okay, so, for this video, you will need your sketch. There's our, I don't know her name. She can have a name later. We've got too much stuff to do. So if you've got your outline sketch, you're happy with your hair, eyes, all that, whoosh, great. You will need, here we go. You will need Copic markers. And if you don't have them, I recommend Stabilo. These are great for sketching. I will be putting all of these in a list off eBay. I get a lot of my stuff off eBay. Sometimes art shops because I've got a student discount. Lucky me. But keep in mind, if you're at university, you're always fucking broke. And everything's really expensive. So please don't be jealous. Look at all this cool stuff. Because it's taken a long while and I'm very passionate. I sound like a wanker. Also, coloured pencils are cool. These are Prismacolor. They're medium range, and if you want to go up a bit, I recommend having some Derwents. Yay! They're just going to be for a background. Pitt pens, I really highly recommend Pitt pens for this. There's extra small, medium, calligraphy. How much? 2 for? You get 6 in this pack. That's pretty cool. I think that's about 15 bucks. Anyway, leave that for the description. Also, in my other videos, mathemats are going to be really important. Even a compass, but Pitt pens don't really fit in a compass, so this is where you need mathemats. And if you have French curves, more power to ya. I still haven't got them in the mail. I still haven't got my light box. So sometimes if you're in a rush, eBay can't be the best. It just depends how reliable. I buy off so many different people, so I recommend going to art shops if you really need something quick. Usually they've got sales on. So I've got, Bendy Wendy. And this is just going to give our picture so many curves. Look, don't worry if you don't have this stuff. It's still going to come up great. You can still keep your original sketch. Nothing's going to happen to this. It's going to be fine. But if you've got your highlights figured out and you've erased all the lines you don't like, if it's hard to determine which lines you want to keep and which you don't, just press down harder. It's really important that you're coordinated with this. And if you have a light box and you know how to use one, please use that. I'm going to teach you how to use sketching paper. Yeah, no light box. No, fucking gone. And we're going to do that. Also, hipster. I always get called hipster when I wear this hat. This is my fedora. I think that's how you say it. Everyone at uni calls me a hipster. Especially when I bring my coffee. Talk like this. Oh, I'm going to buy an old typewriter. I got nothing against hipsters. I get called one all the time. Anyway, enough of this shit. Grab a coffee, guys, and get ready. We'll head over to the drawing board. Have a bit of coffee and we'll see what we can do. Okay, guys, let's get into this. Now, if you happen to have a light box, it is a simple matter of placing a sketch on the light box, turning it on, and putting a piece of paper over the top. And simply just getting a pencil and drawing around the outlines. But I don't have a light box, so we're going to do it the other way. If you have a light box, please do that. I feel so unprofessional not having one. I really wanted to show you guys. We will be doing it when I actually get the fucking thing. Anyway, I'm going to be using sketching paper. Simple as that. I hope you can see that right. Now, my hands will probably get in the way. This is really annoying. just having a simple paper clip. Let me just put that on there. 2 paper clips. Should have mentioned, you don't have to have these, they just help me. Even bulldog clips, but they can sometimes damage the paper a bit, so if you're a fussy person like me. Also, I just want to talk about paper because I forgot to mention that before because I had too much coffee. Don't use that shitty printing paper if you want a decent copy. I'm going to be using sort of the best of the best. So if that's all you got laying around, by all means use that, but it takes a lot of time and effort to do this procedure. So I recommend buying good paper. Usually this stuff I've got here, I know it's not going to matter if I show you. It's not glossy like photo paper, but it's not a matte. It's called satin. And if you go to, let's say Officeworks or even your newsagent, you can buy tracing paper and this nice paper. Usually it comes in reams of about 15 to 20 sheets. And yes, it's a bit more pricier, but you're not going to use it as often. Like, printing paper is great. I love sketching on it. I love fucking around with it. But if you want to do a final like we're going to do, I highly recommend using this paper. This is what we'll be using. Anyway, enough of that crap. So let's start off with sketching. This might seem a bit retarded and it might seem like I'm a shit artist because I have to work from this angle and it's really hard. Usually my head's here. So anyway, so what you want to do is just keep in mind the outlines you want and just go around them. And you don't even have to be that precise. See how I've gone off the line? It doesn't matter if it's wobbly. Just as long... See that massive thing there? I just dipped right out like that. But that's fine. Make it as accurate as you can. But if it's a bit wobbly, don't worry. Because everything you draw on this tracing paper is going to come up. So try not to do sketching like that. Because it's not going to matter. And I'll show you that later anyway. So anyway, I'm going to cut this video here. I'll transition when I've finished doing all those outlines because I know you guys really want to see me do that. But anyway, I'll see you guys in a tick. Okay guys, so that took a while. Oh, not really. But as you can tell, not that spot on, pretty scrappy, just done it really quick. Anyway, let's take this off and there we go. There's our sketch. The only problem with sketch paper, get a new piece of paper. So the side that you've drawn on with your pencil, you have to turn it over so it leaves an impression. This is why I want a light box, because it doesn't flip the picture, and I'm just going to go with this. But if I wanted to turn this around, I've got to make an impression on the paper, sketch it, and then do it again. But I like it around this way. It's a bit different. And if I want the other way, I've always got this sketch. Anyway, so after you've done your sketch, just put these paper clips back on. I'm happy where the image is. If you maybe wanted more room at the top, you could just move the tracing paper down, or sometimes if you want to move it to the far left or right, and you can put, like, I don't know, graphics there or maybe a name. I've done that before. Anyway, so once you've traced it, flip it over, clip it. You can just hold it with your hand if you want, but if it moves, it really stuffs up. And then you simply get your pencil, press down firmly, and just scribble on the lines. Just make sure you get them. It doesn't matter how messy you are, just the line's going to come out. This can dull your pencil and burn it down pretty quick. So if you've got a graphite stick, or maybe just a crap pencil that you don't like, as you can see, you can get the job done a lot quicker. Yeah, just pretty much get every line. Just scribble, make a mess of it. These sticks don't cost too much, and they're really good. If you buy a set, you're going to use them for shading and sketching eventually, one day. Anyway, you can fast forward this bit of the video if you want till I'm done. I'm just going to talk absolute shit. No, I moved it out of the camera. So anyway, as I was tracing this, I did make some changes. Like, I noticed the eyes were a bit off, so I changed them a bit. Also on the eyes, I didn't do thick, sort of like eyebrows. I didn't do thick eyebrows and eyelashes and really bold eyes, like that. Reason being is because we're going to touch them up as soon as we start using the pit pens. And I like everything to be as thin as it can, because then you can just work on that. Like, if you say, hey, those pupils are a bit too big, then that's it. You can't take it back. You can't use whiteout. So, make everything fine. Make sure you're happy with it. And we can even do that now. We're not up to the final bit yet, so nearly done. Just get the rest of those legs. But the aim of the game for now is just fine lines. Nothing shaded or, you know, really thick. Just as thin as you can. Okay, nearly done. Just make sure you've got everything. And it doesn't matter how hard you press, you're going to get this nice light thing. So, just get rid of that. Time for the magic. Take the paper clips off. And take the tracing paper off. And that is going to be really hard for you guys to see. Sorry about that noise. Just getting rid of the tracing paper. That might be really hard for you to see, but that's exactly what we want. And you might think I'm crazy. I'm even going to get this eraser, just slowly go over this dark line, because the more faint the lines, as long as I can see them, the better it's going to be. Alrighty, cool. Get Mr. Duster. Okay, guys. Now, let's get into pit pens. And even now, you still can't see the outline. But if you're at home, you should be able to see it. Okay, this is where pit pens come in. I recommend using a small. It's just got the letter S at the top. You can use extra fine, but it comes up a bit shaky. So I just recommend small for now. And also, if you have a sheet, if you have the same sheet that you just traced on, get the same type of paper as I mentioned earlier, and even just have a quick practice. Just get the feel for it. Sometimes if pens are new, they can bleed and they can just wreck your whole picture, and you really can't make mistakes here. So even if you want to draw a hand and practice, if you don't have French curves or mathematics or that crap, it doesn't matter. If you're confident you can do curves like this, and you know, although if you do have bendy wendy and mathematics, it's just, this result's going to be really cool. And don't worry if, you know, you've just got even a big pen or something and you just want to try it out and you just want to do freehand. This process took me ages to do, and like, if it doesn't come up that good, don't worry about it. It's all practice. So the idea here is, this is really hard from the side, is to get your pen, and then if you can, well, there's a curve of an arm, so that looks cool. I'm just going to start there, and sorry if my hand's getting in the way of my head. I'm just going to bend it to the shape of that arm. Sorry, this can take a while. And it's literally just doing curves like this. My head's getting in the way. And it's literally just doing curves like this. And that's how you start off. And then the arm moves down here. I'm happy doing small parts freehand. And just follow your grey lead impression from the sketch. Now this is probably going to take a while, so you can fast forward, or I'm going to cut soon anyway in a minute. But just remember, up here I've got my highlights, you probably can't see them. Don't go over your highlights in pen because you'll never get rid of them. Just the highlights for the hair and for the eyes. Just remember they are there in pencil, but we're going to erase them. And just keep an eye on what you're doing. Little things you can do by hand, like, sorry if my head gets in the way, my hair is an absolute mess, like this belly button here, I think I can see it, I hope I can see it. Like small things like that, and maybe the mouth will do that. All that can be freehand. But stuff like eyes, I'm going to use the Math Mat. Sorry guys, I'd love to show you how to do it, but it's just so hard from this angle. And our little circles here, that might be hard to see, I'm going to use them for eyes. So anything that's round, even the large curves here, I can use them. And I'm going to do as much of this picture as I can using guides. Whether it's Bendy Wendy or the Math Mat, just find the curve using the grey lead. And like, the beauty of this is, sorry, just give me a second. Even if, you know, the grey lead's like that, and your lines just, this is a really horrible example. Even if they're like that, you know, just really rigid and rough, if you get Bendy Wendy, just bend it to that style, run the pen along it, don't do it this quick, and you're just going to get just this perfect curve, and it just comes up so good. Anyway, this is going to take me a while. I'm going to go over the curves. What are some other tips? It's just hard. It's just practice. It can be difficult and it can really piss you off, but try and just make it a smooth action, unlike I've done here. There's a little tick there. I've already started wrecking it. Anyway, I'll get a basic outline and we'll go from there because this is going to take a while. What are the tips? Just with the eyelashes, hold off for now. Try and make the eyebrows as thin as possible. And just concentrate on what you're doing. Like with hair, it can be easy to overlap and you can get lines where you don't. So let's say, hang on, I'll try and give you an example. Let's say this hair overlaps here. I'll just do this by hand. And then as it comes up, I draw there. But this is in front, so I'd want to start my stroke there. Hair can be kind of tricky. And then I come down there. And then this goes up, but this hair's above it, so I'd start a stroke there. And that's not too bad. Really small, intricate things. If you're confident to do them by hand, go ahead and do that. Anyway, I don't know what other tips to give you. Just try and, wherever you can use a curve, use a curve. Fingernails, don't worry. Eyes, really try and use your circles in your Math Mat and it'll come up amazing. Anyway, see you guys in a couple of minutes. I got some art to do. Okay, hey guys, I'm back. We've just been over with our pit pen or marker or whatever you've done, and you can see I did the hair freehand and the eyes, even though I just said use that, but I just wanted to show you the difference. I can always do this again. I'm trying to teach you guys. But down here you can see you just get these perfect curves, and if you can do it all in that, it is tedious and I know it takes a while, but the effect you get is so good. Okay, if you're up to this stage, Where are you, Mr. Eraser? You've still got grey lead marks, even though they're light. And what you got to do is just, and keep in mind I've let the ink dry for a bit. This shouldn't affect the ink. If you've let it dry, these studio lights are so hot that this thing just dried instantly. Just even get up, look really close, because once we apply the Copic markers or textures or whatever, you're not going to be able to get rid of these lines. So just give that a nice scrub. And then blow on it, or if you've got, whoops, missed a brush, let's give it a nice good dusting. Just look really close, there's bits I've missed. Okay, now you'll notice my highlight lines are gone. But I can use my original sketch as a reference, just for the hair, if you can see there. And what you've actually got to do is draw them in with the texture, but we'll get to that later. But it's alright if you erase all them, you can use this as a reference. Anyway, as you can tell, everything is really fine. Although if you've noticed, I have drawn around the highlights in the eyes. And that won't matter because they're going to be all black anyway. Just don't draw on the coloured part. And what I like to do is I'm going to grab a medium pit pen. And this is just going to save a bit of time. And generally, just colour the eyes in. Man, this is hard from this angle. I hope my head's not in the way. Just want to colour those eyes in. I'm doing this from ages away. So give me a break, y'all. I think I'm going to fuck it up. I'm probably going to fuck it up. But you get the idea, just draw your eyes in. I'll finish them in the transition. And that's really bringing it to life. Also, see how just plain and like not vivid my eyebrows are? Eyelashes. You can see in this picture they're a bit fuller and thicker. I always leave that to the end, and I'll simply just do a little dot here and go over and just smooth it out. Remember, when doing this, be very careful because you can't undo it. And then under here I might go a bit thicker and make the surrounding eye thicker. And that's just bringing a lot of life. Not that line up there, because that's just a sort of wrinkle line. See, then you just add it carefully. It's bringing a lot more life into it. Of course, over here, because this eye is bigger, just because of foreshortening, or the angle, whatever you like to call it, I'll probably go a bit thicker here. And that's really going to bring the eyes to life. Eyelashes will be thicker here. And I'm really liking this picture. It's so different to what I usually do. I like doing new stuff. So you can really make this just as thick as you want. The thicker you have it, the more attention it's going to draw. But sometimes there is a thing called overkill. Okay, that's the eyes. I know they look really dark, but the reason we go the thinnest lines first is because we're actually going to add to these lines. So I'm going to grab my medium, and you can use Bendy Wendy for this. And things that are closer generally have thicker lines, and that's just going to give whoever's looking at it, oh god, sorry, I can't talk properly. When you look at it, it's going to differentiate from close. It's going to range from closer to far away. So at the back, this hair is right at the back, if you can imagine. So we're going to keep that thin. But up close, like this fringe here is right at the front. And if we draw it thick, I don't know how this is going to turn out. This range is so hard to draw. Drawing from a distance, it's a pain in the ass. Now, I don't know what you're working on. I'm sure it's beautiful, but this is something you've got to judge for yourself. And actually, see, I'm an arsehole. I always do things. Okay, before you even start doing this, just remember you can photocopy these. If you want to practice, you don't want the original. I'm just jumping into it because I know I've got a sketch. And that's the most important thing. But if you've done a nice outline, you can actually photocopy these and just practice on them. You can practice with colour, you can practice making things thicker or changing them around. But as you can see, things like the nose and mouth, I wouldn't use a thick thing because they're so small. It's just going to wreck the. It's just going to wreck the shape. But the jawline we can definitely go around here. What if my head's in the way? Stuff like this hair here, I wouldn't really touch. The chest here, because it's closer, you can go around that. And that's just going to make this arm, I wouldn't go over that. Possibly these fingers, maybe down here. And then thin it out there. That's going to really look like this arm's going behind the waist. So, it's all just up to you guys, I guess. I mean, it's just practice. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but if you can get your thicknesses right, it is important. Sometimes I make things really thick, like I can just tell that's pretty overkill. I'm not sure if I'm happy with that, but it's the only one I've got. Anyway, I'm going to work on some lines, and I'm going to have to sit here, so we'll do. Okay, sorry about that transition. I just lost my glasses and I couldn't see. Especially when I'm going to draw from range. Alright, let's get into it. So, let's do this arm first, or whatever arm you've got. Just literally use the pointed end. And if your black lines aren't dry, it's going to come off onto the tip and you're going to get a black tip, and it's just going to destroy your textures. Whoa. This is fun doing it from a range. Just in case you guys are getting bored, want to fast forward, just going to do this part of the arm. Now this is not what the colour looks like, it has to dry. And then for big parts, you can use your chisel end, and just remember to brush with the line, like you're painting. So I wouldn't go straight down like that, because the arm curves, so try and go with the contours of the arm. I think that's the right way. And just like that. This is hard from an angle, I know I keep saying it. But you can use the chisel on different points to get different thicknesses. Sorry, different angles. And that looks absolutely horrible. But we just wait for it to dry. If there's any uneven patches, just go with the point, just delicately. Fill in those white spots. And it'll dry. Anyway, you guys can fast forward if you want, or you can listen to me talk shit. I'm going to colour in all the skin and just give you guys tips and pointers. And once again, I've gone ahead. If you're ever a bit unsure, get your piece of paper, draw on that. Because the more you go over the same area, the darker it's going to be. And this can be tricky. So we'll just let that dry. As you can see, up here is a bit darker. I don't know if you can see. And this is really light, so I just go over this. Try and match the colour. The reason I do skin first, you always want to do your lightest colours first. Like our light's coming from there, so I can tell automatically there's going to be a shadow, and I can go really heavy here. I'll just show you. when you're doing shadows, they're just an extension of the shape. So just the chest here, that would be round. Come down here. That's going to make a nice shadow. And you can be really rough all night. Sorry, not rough, just, you can just pump that ink on. So if you want to do shadows as you go, it's always cool. I'm just trying to illustrate my point about putting heaps of ink in the one spot. It's going to make it darker. Of course, if you have a spray gun, you can just do this perfectly. But that's coming up right. Okay, we'll do this arm. So we'll go around the outside. And generally, I'm not telling you to rush it. But try not hold the texture in the same spot, because the paper's going to absorb the ink, and once you go really dark, you can't go back. And you only sort of get one shot at this. Like, you can't use whiteout. Oh no, I keep repeating myself. You should have fast forwarded, shouldn't you? No, don't do that, I'll be alone. Fuck, I talk shit. Okay, so being just really careful. Just always keep an eye that you don't go into your fingernails. And I think I'm actually getting the hang of ranged sketching. I call it that because I'm sitting all the way back here. Okay, get our chisel. And of course you don't have to use the chisel if you don't want to. Sometimes it can, if you can see those marks, sometimes it can come up, I don't know, not that well. You know, as I always say, if you guys have got a better way, do it. I like to always go with the curves, so if I'm going with the fingers or around the thumb, I'll give it that curvy action. And I do find those textures like paintbrushes, the way you brush them does say a lot about your work. Okay, now that it's drying, it's looking alright, and I've gone outside the lines a tiny bit there. Really try to avoid that. Honestly, I've done that really quick. Usually I get right up close and just, you know, do it really slowly. Anyway, the other thing about skin is highlights. So I'll just go over that quickly, because I know you guys aren't going to sit there and watch me colour all the skin. Even if you do little patterns like this, it's pretty big. When you colour it all in, wherever you leave your highlights, because I already know that's too thick. My hand's pulling away. You just narrow it down till it looks good. Just colour the white in, be careful. And it's just all about looking at the picture. Take your time. The light's coming from here, there might be a shine there. Maybe not too much, because skin doesn't really reflect that much light as, say, eyes or hair or clothes. If these were maybe, let's just say they're going to be like a spandexy sort of thing, or jogging clothes, you get a lot of highlights off that. But I don't know what you've drawn, so it's just, you know, it's just judging it. Okay guys, I'm going to finish this skin off and we'll transition when it's done and we'll learn some more stuff. Okay, now our beautiful skin is done and it's looking so much more fuller. As you can tell, got just that light, nice little thin highlight there, and that's going to give us a lot of depth. It's going to be cool. Oh, I keep saying the same words. Okay, now for our track suit, or I don't know what you call it, I'm going to use Nile Green, which is G07 in the Copic sketch range. Now, I'm going to use the point tip. And what I'm going to do is just look at my lighting first. So I might say there could be lighting there. And I'm just going to draw in white. Maybe lighting there. Probably not so much down there because of the shoulder and the hair. And then Can't tell if my head's in the way. Just drawing where I think my highlights are going to be. Well, drawing around them. This can be tricky. Okay. Now just same as the skin. And if you get Copics, oh my god, that's so much better. If you get Copics, get Sketch. 2 are alright, but which is TOO, it's just the class of them. Try and get Sketch, they're so cool. And yeah, so you get where I'm going with this, you can fast forward. But I'm just going to colour this top in. And talk shit if you'd like to join me. If not, fast forward. Alright, just be really careful with the hair, because these are fine points. Ooh, this is hard. Okay, I don't want to break this anymore. Anyway, see that? Sometimes textures can bleed. That's bleeding really bad. If that happens, simply get your sheet and just wipe it off. Oh, that can wreck your picture. I hate it when that happens. It just bleeds like no tomorrow, and then it bleeds through the lines. Anyway, especially if you're doing like right here, this thin little bit, it's starting to bleed again. Fuck. Oh man. There's no real way to avoid that. I'm just rubbing it on the paper. If you don't use them for a long time, I think the nib can just absorb heaps of ink. But if that happens, it's just wastes your text a bit. You have to rub it out. Ay. See how that's bled into the skin? Fuck, and the highlights are wrecked. Probably because I've never used this texture. Like, it's the first time I've actually used this colour, so it can bleed. Okay, our highlights aren't that bad, we can still work with them. Okay, so as you colour this in, it's squeaking. You can see your highlight, and you can make it thinner by just simply going over it, or divide it up like that, which is pretty cool. And that's a pretty cool highlight. And then you just got to colour everything in green that you want green. I'll do a transition now, but I'm just going to do all the top and the pants green. And in fact, you know what? Just because I can, I'm going to make the nails green. See how I've left that bit of white there? That might be extremely hard to see. Just going to leave a couple of dots of white there, which is always good on nails because they're really glossy. So even, don't worry about too much where the light's coming from, even just leaving little bits of white there. And that really looks cool. Okay, give me a second and I'll finish the top and pants, and then we'll go into the hair and the eyes, and we're nearly done. Okay, got a green coloured in. Added, if you can see here, just a bit of a squiggle highlight. They're always good on sort of large areas, especially with this material. And as you can see, you can see the brush strokes. Just gonna let that dry, and then we'll go over it again later. But let's get into eyes. I have here a B05, which is processed blue. It's a nice light blue. Don't think I've used this before, so we're just going to test it on the paper. And yeah, it's not leaking. That's cool. Especially with eyes, you've got to check because they're so small. Okay, so like the clothes and the skin, we're going to draw a little circle there. And one on the opposing side. And just colour around that. These are our highlights. So if you're unsure, just refer to your sketch or your eyes that you've drawn and use that as a guide. This picture is coming to life. Colour looks so much better. I love it when I get to use the colour. Bit disappointed about the really thick black lines, but maybe I'll colour this picture in again. Go over it with a Pic pen again one day. Okay, now eyes say a lot about your picture. I'd use lighter colours for eyes. This is what I'm going to use for the shade in a second, but I wouldn't start off with ultramarine unless you've got really big eyes. These are fairly small, and dark colours with all this black, it's just going to be so dark, and it's really not that great. Just quickly, I've just sort of remembered, got an RV11, which is just a pink, and I forgot about the tongue. A little dab there. That might be really hard to see. It's such a tiny mouth. Okay. Now I'll just move in the hair quickly. I'm just going to show you, we're going to go with a lemon yellow, Y13. I don't usually recommend anime hair to be blonde. They're usually radical colours like a blue or orange or red, and just crazy, but I haven't used this before, so just test it on the paper. I haven't used lemon yellow, thought I'd give it a go. What I'm going to do is just quickly look, okay. Just going to draw these highlights in. Try and curve your highlights with the hair, like I'm not doing because I'm in this horrible angle. And it doesn't matter if you make them really thick like that, because you just fine them up when you colour it in. I think I want highlights there. Recommend doing all your highlights first, because then you can work around them. That's going to need a bit of touching up. And one on the shoulder here we'll say. Okay, it'll look good when I touch it up. Well, probably not, but anyway. And same thing. Just colouring everything that is yellow. I really want to show you how I do the highlights on hair, but it's hard. You just pretty much go around the outskirts, and then when you come to the highlight, you make it thinner and thinner. The thinner the better, I say. It looks, you know, ooh, that yellow is really... Try and stay away from blacks as much as you can. I know it's hard, but you can see how it's bleeding in. If you ever start bleeding in like that with the black and you can tell, just simply try and rub it off the nib, because it will stay on there. You can see how it's rubbing off. I know it seems like a bit of waste of ink, but it's just for really light colours like this. Okay, hair, eyes. Let me just quickly fill the hair in, because I know how exciting that is, and we'll get into some dark. Okay, that's the hair done. Not too bad with the highlights. Could have spent a bit more time on them, but we just want to get this done. Okay, now we're going to get into some shading. I know this is still patchy, but we're still waiting for it to dry, just to see what happens. Now we've done our lightest colours first, so then we can move into shadowing. So, just here on this hand, I've taken a skin colour and drawn on the hand. Always do this just to see what effect you're going to get. I've taken an E33, which is sand, and you just simply draw on the lighter colour, because lighter colours won't affect darker colours, like the nib, so always do lights first, that's what I say. And then wait for it to dry. And I'm fairly happy with that. It's darker, but not too darker. Then we just have to work out where our shadows are going to be. So before, oops, sorry, chiseling. What you want to do is just even if you draw it smaller, draw where your shadow's going to be. Just colour your shadow in nice and thick. That's not too bad. Might even go a bit further. But I like starting off small and adding to shadows. That way if you go too far, you can't reverse it. Don't know what I'm saying. Okay, so that's giving it a lot more depth. Even here, maybe across there. So that's just a skin shadow. I'll fill all these in. And for our hair, I'm going to use a cadmium yellow, a Y15. And I'll just show you quickly. It's going to give us a nice yellow shadow. Ah, that's looking cool. And just by doing that, it's just judging shadows. Like her head's there, so that hair's in front of that. That has a shadow. I'm so bad at explaining things at the moment. But yeah, you know, just the opposite of the light. The light's hitting there, the fringe is here. So maybe that'd be a shadow sort of down there. Obviously this would be darker. And even just at the top of the hair, where you get these splits, it's cool to just do little shadows in there. So like here, this hair's in front of there. So if I put a little shadow there. Just like that. Voila! Just gives you so much depth. And obviously behind the head, I don't know if my head's in the way. Alright, that's enough of yellow. I'll finish it off in a tick. Just move on to green. What have we got for green? We have got forest green, G17. Ooh, G17. Fully automatic, bitch. God, I'm lame. Okay, so once again, under the arm, give it a nice curve. And yes, you can use bendy wendy if you want to do big curves like this. And as I said, start off small, maybe curve it a bit more. Just do a couple of strokes and then stand back and look. See, under here I'll just do something small like that. And then I'd look back. Okay, maybe a bit more. Up here. And it's just making it so much fuller. Especially with the hair here, you just want to go, because that hair would cast a shadow. So just pretty much copying the shape of the hair under there, like it curves down there. And in between the gaps of the hair. And even down here, because the hair's draped over there. And yeah. Could even have a shadow here. Okay, I know this is taking forever, guys. For skin, we've already done that, you idiot. For eyes, ultramarine, which I said not to use on eyes. But for shading, we're just going to do a tiny little curve here. And straight lines don't usually work with eyes. Just this tiny curve, if you can see that, of marine blue at the top of the eyes. That's really going to make them stand out. That's cool. Well, I think it's cool. You might think it's shit. But we're getting there. Anyway, I'll fill all the shades in. Actually, you know what? You guys can talk to me if you want. Or just fast forward. Fast forward this bit if you like. I'm just going to, draw away. Have a shade there. This won't take too long anyway, so... when you're shading, try and go with the curves of the body, like that. I know the light is coming from that way, because of the arm, I just envision there would be a shadow here. Envision, is that the right word? Okay, give that a nice thick coat. And that's looking pretty cool. And then if the hand's here, tend to put just a shadow of the finger, like that. Maybe something like that. I don't know. I don't know. Who am I? That might be a bit too extreme. Even the fingers, you can just do a slight little thing there. Oh no! The whole thing fucking moved. Why did that happen? And then joints, like just here, and go there. Obviously here, it's going behind the body. Like that. And that's not looking too bad. And then, once again, where the hair is, you'll put some nice little shade there. And I love shading the fringe, it really pops out. There might be like little white dots everywhere, but I'll fix that up in the tick. And I'm just shading the inside of the ear. And just by doing that, it just gives it so much depth. Like just doing the belly button too. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And where the hair comes down here, sorry. The neck would be shaded. But as I said, just have a look, do a bit of shading, stand back, have a look, try and imagine the light, and try and do shades in curves, like highlights. And it's just really going to help. Thinking I should shade down there, but I'm not sure. Maybe we'll just do some shade there, because that's where the light isn't. Yeah, that's not too bad. Alright. Just quickly finish off the green in the hair. So, my hair's not looking too bad. Shade what we think would be the darker parts. Even these lines here that I've drawn the hair, just, you can be thick on them. Put shades in there. Just breaks it up a bit instead of having this massive patch of yellow. And this isn't a really dark yellow, so it's alright to do little lines like that along here. And definitely under here needs a lot. Maybe just along there. But you get where I'm going with this. La 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 la. God, I'm tired. Fuck, it's getting late. Okay, and it's just making it pop so much. I love it. Let's just finish off our, I know I'm changing colours a lot, our forest green. I'll just bring you there so I can actually see you. What we're going to do here is, ooh, this is a hard one. Well, that leg's there, so obviously don't know how that's going. That's not too bad. And then, because the fingernails are green, and they're the same green as the pants, I'm going to just try and give them a shade in there. Just so you can see the difference. And there would be a shadow there anyway. And let's just come down here a bit. Surprised I'm not going outside the lines. For how quick I'm going. I usually spend hours just being so careful in particular. But, you know, you guys are here watching me. And you can even make that more of an arch. Yeah, there we go. Usually even when I do shadows, I'd use Bendy Wendy for something like that. But you guys don't want to sit on YouTube for 6 hours and watch me, do you? Yeah, just add a curve like that. And hey, look, fingernails stand out. Just like that. Cool. There we go. The only problem I have now is this green. So anyway, I'll do another layer of the skin, because you can see how it's patchy, another layer of the green. The shadows, could do another layer, and I'll do that. We've just gone over the colour again. The green's still a bit patchy, I might give that another coat. Probably another time. The paper's taking a lot of absorption, and it's hard to explain it from this distance, but sometimes the paper just rejects the amount of ink and it can start to get oily and wreck the colours. So just keep in mind, more layers doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fix it. But I'm happy with the end result, it's not too bad. I was going to use pencils and do a background, but I don't think it suits it. Anyway, we'll just do a quick outro, just review what we've done, and thank you guys for sitting through this with me. It's been really epic, this video anyway. Whoa, alrighty guys. That was a really long video. I think it's like 3 in the morning or something. I just really want to get it done. So, let's take a quick look. That's probably better to do. Okay, that's what we came up with. Really cool. I did have to rush this one. Usually I'd spend hours. It's not. I didn't know I could actually do it that quick. But I mean, I know I use this a lot as a reference, but if you really take your time, you can produce something like this. This is where the coloured background did suit. I'm not too sure if it would have suited on this one. Maybe, but it would have taken a long time. And well, that's our anime series over for now. I guess this is the first one I did. I've used the same procedure. So I hope you guys have learned a lot. Thank you for joining me on my first series of anime. It's been really fun for me. Been getting back into it. I haven't done anime in so long, and it's been really great, you know. I think in our next series, just quickly, we're going to work on this is the first male figure I did, so we might work on the male anatomy, and just more broader and different eyebrows and stuff. And then, hopefully we'll get into some digital stuff. This might be a bit hard to see, but this is just silhouettes. It's like an icy background, and literally I've just taken the outline like a sketch, filled it with black. Anyway, that can be pretty cool. There's one in fire. But if you guys sat through this whole thing and you sketched and drew a wonderful picture, keep up your art. I know it's hard, it's a lot of work. Making these videos is a lot of work too, but I enjoy it. Please like, even though this will be going into Photoshop next week, and you've been through all this stuff with me, please comment. I'm going to leave some links in, I'm going to leave some eBay items and just quick prices on paper, textures, all the junk. I know I'm dying here. I apologise for when I was sketching. I sort of go out of it, and I don't really want to dub my voice over it again. If you get sick of it because I'm not making sense, just turn the volume right down, put some music on. I don't want to do subtitles or anything, but I sort of just... It can be a bit hard because I'm sitting back here and this is the camera's here and I have to draw from like here, and when I get right into my art I just like, what? See that thing there? It's yellow and the thing... And I know I talk like a dickhead, but thank you for putting up with me, guys. See you next week. We'll be getting into Photoshop. Subscribe if you want weekly art and design tutorials. I'll see you guys next time. This has been Smurf. Goodbye to anime. Welcome Photoshop. See you guys.